Hiccups for the
Try
whole
and hold
show.
it for a second. Try and hold it.
I'll have hiccups for like. In terms of the hardware, obviously they both push their boundaries, but obviously Samsung seem to release newer features than Apple, the foldable phone, etc.
I can't breathe. Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah. Gloves are off. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hope we're doing well.
Yeah, it's episode 7 today.
Siete.
I
think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, it is.
Because I think
right.
that was ocho. Anyway.
Moving on. Today, we are going to speak about competitors. Everything around competitors. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what we are going to talk about?
Well, we've spoken in the past when we did sort of market analysis and things briefly about competitor analysis and what to look for. However, it's like an ice cube compared to the iceberg. Do you know what I mean? So there's so much more when it comes to competitors that we can dive deeper into. And famously, Mark Cuban out there, for those of you who know, one of the sharks on Shark Tank, he famously came out and said once that the biggest failure that people make are not understanding the competitors when it comes to building a company. And so we thought, hey, we'll have a full episode on it and tell all of you lovely people what to look out for.
No, 100%. I mean, in short, your competitors are essentially your best teachers because they'll tell you what's popping for them, what's failing for them. And from that, you can learn exactly what to do and implement into your company.
Helps you to find your USP as well and then know how to market it effectively.
Exactly. But before we get cracking in, it's your favourite part of the show.
Oh, it is.
It is. We have got our infamous scratch cards.
Go for the lucky shamrock today.
Do you want to,
Irish fans out there,
update the audience on our winnings/losses so far?
We'll have our quarterly report.
I think, it is due for a quarterly report.
Welcome to the quarterly report. Seems we're now on episode 7. So, over the course of the first month, Jamie, profits and losses.
Go on, son.
We're not doing well.
Hit me with some stats.
Quite frankly,
Statistician Ollie is back.
Statistician Ollie is back. For the people out there who love it, we're speaking to you.
We see you. we see you.
So, the two big factors of our business profits and losses in the last 4 to 6 weeks have been scratch cards.
Indeed.
We haven't been doing too well. I've worked out with our 2 sets of £2 and our 4 sets of £1. We are currently at a negative £16 loss on the scratch cards.
Strong.
With 0 winnings.
0.
And our second biggest expense of our first quarterly report was Bizwheel.
It was.
When I, atrociously, a few episodes ago, attempted to become DJ Sweet Sounds. For all of you out there that remember
I've
DJ
heard
Sweet Sounds.
DJ Sweet Sounds through the grapevine. It's famous.
To be fair, he's right. I was out and about yesterday, strolling around Crawley, the area where we decided to film Bizwheel. And I was stopped in the street by, famously, the lady who gave me the euro, my first customer. Even though it wasn't a pound that she gave me, she gave me a euro.
Nice.
Shout out to you, absolute legend. She stopped me and she said, "Oh well, you're not wearing a suit." That's the first thing she said.
Okay,
I said,
fair.
"Yeah, I don't wear a suit all the time." And we got into it, had a bit of back and forth, and she said her day was made by us. So,
Brilliant.
So at least
that's all we're trying to do here, people. That's all we're trying to do.
However, as part of the quarterly report, we did pretty shite. So it was a £25 expense that day, which I tried to break even on, and we only made £6. And that's with the conversion rate of the euro in the modern day.
Wow. So what's that grand total there?
We're currently on negative £35. We're not doing well.
Hopefully that's all about to change.
Q1, we're in the loss.
Go on.
Just like Amazon. So
what have you scratched off, my friend, on your
Good point. So game 1 was to find a star. I found no star. Game 2 was to find a 5. I had a 9. Game 3 was to find a 10. I had a 15. And then game 4, match 2 to win the prize.
And you matching them?
£4!
Fuck off!
Swear to God!
My boy! Hold up, ladies and gentlemen.
No way!
Ladies and gentlemen.
No way.
No star.
Okay.
Didn't find number 5 in
No.
game 2.
No 5.
I had 15
So
in game 3, not 10.
he hasn't.
Game 4,
No, he hasn't.
£2.
Yes! Come on!
6
That
quid.
was sick.
We made what Ollie made in the space of 2-3 hours on Bizwheel.
Hey, it's a negative technically £2, so we made £4. Let's do the stats correctly.
Still good though.
Oh my god, we've won. And we both won.
That's insane.
On episode 7. We haven't won for 6 episodes, we won on episode 7.
It shows you can pay off with the big lucky
Amazing.
ones.
We've got to treasure these. We'll put these here. We won't
We
throw
got
them
to
like
cash
we
them in.
usually
We got to
do.
cash them in.
Oh, man, I'm so
We
happy.
finally won. Episode 7 is history.
I'm so chuffed. Wow.
Well, my friends,
Well, anyway.
moving on, right?
Moving on.
Phew, I'm a bit hyped up from that.
I'm sweating.
Anyway, Ollie and gentlemen and ladies out there, grab your biltong and your nuts because we're getting into Spenny and Penny.
Spenny and Penny. Let's go.
Woo! All right, Ollie. First up,
Hello.
we have biltong.
Biltong.
Do you like biltong?
Well, you, funnily enough, introduced me to biltong.
Yes, I
Bit of a Safa treat, I heard. And yeah, I'm addicted to it.
You like
Now,
it, yeah?
I like it. However, I do have a cheap taste of these things. Point being is I'm not acquired enough in the biltong taste to really gain good biltong. I usually just pick it up from the local shops, which I've heard are not their sort of like best brands. So I have a feeling I'll recognise the cheap one more than I'll recognise the more expensive one.
Because you're used to it a bit more.
Because I'm used
Fair
to the cheap
enough.
one, so yeah.
Well, we have 2 brands here. So we have one cheap and one kind of expensive,
Okay.
but they're not a very big brand. They're not well known, but they are in the local area.
If you haven't tried biltong out there, though, people, it was only introduced to me about a year ago. It is top shelf stuff. Bit of saltiness, high protein. It is a snack.
Give your best South African accent over.
Yeah, bro. I love a bit of biltong, bro. I don't know. I went a bit. I did an eclectic mix there. I don't know what your face is saying, but I know it's not good.
All right, you ready to taste? I'm going to pour some into my
No
hand.
reaction, eh?
No reaction. I'm going to give you some. All right?
Yeah.
Hand out. Like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'll give you like a couple.
Okay. Oh,
Taste that one first.
got quite a bit there.
Well, if there's too much, then give it back and I can chuck it away. So he's having a little taste. This smells so good right here, by the way, guys.
It smells phenomenal. It's really good.
Oh, oh my god. Sensational, is it?
Do you know what? That's the word I would go for.
Yeah?
Absolute. That was really tasty. I haven't really had anything like salty today. Does that sound right? Yeah, salty today. So like, it's given my palate exactly what I needed. It's lovely.
That. All right,
really
nice. Ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm gonna off the
Got a
bat.
couple here
I'm
as
guessing that's the more expensive one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now these are a bit thinner, even by initial touch. So I don't know if that means they're more luxury or not. We're gonna find out.
Who knows? This is like a mukbang. I love it. It's brilliant. We need to do more of these.
That'll be fun. I can't speak.
Right, so they are slightly different flavour. I don't know if you noticed that.
They've got flavouring.
Oh,
I'm just getting salty beef, mate.
okay. Fair.
What's the flavouring?
Fair. Maybe you need to go again. I don't know. Do you want another taster or you
I'm pretty set I know which one's which.
you set, yeah?
Yeah.
Go on then. Tell me. So what was number 1?
I would say number one's the more expensive.
I'm
getting like better, like this a bit thicker, bit more beef to it. The bits are a bit nicer, like even like by touch. I know that sounds a bit weird, but like they're just a bit more. They feel a bit nicer.
Feel better.
Feel pretty. The second ones feel a little bit more rubbery, a bit more chewy, but a lot more salt in the second ones, which is usually an indication that the company's trying to hide the actual tasting. But I might be wrong. Shall I reveal?
Yes, reveal, sir. Number 1 was Kruger.
Was it really?
Do you want to have another little taste?
Wow. Yeah, I will. I thought this was nicer, but this might be my point. Like, because I've had this more often, I thought it's nicer.
I thought you would have. Have you had it before? Quite a lot.
I've had that a bunch of times.
You would have picked it up then.
I thought so as well.
So you recognise that taste now, looking at it, yeah?
Yeah.
And then this one was from like a local South African shop in Sussex.
I see.
And this is called Durban Curry Biltong.
Durban curry.
Yeah.
it does. It's a lot less salty, but maybe that's the authenticity of the biltong.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
As I said, I thought that was more salty secondarily, but when I just tasted that bit,
Different
it's
now.
taken away
Yeah.
from me.
Strange. Weird. How you take
Really
away your
weird.
sight and you think something a bit different. Anyway,
Senses.
interesting.
But tasty
So,
nonetheless.
what
both
do you
of them
think
banging.
price-wise, right? So this is 60 grams. Bear this in mind. This is
Yeah.
about 250 or 150
Wow. Okay.
grams.
So big difference in.
Obviously, it's going to affect the pricing slightly.
Yeah, true. Well, because I buy the Kruger, I know it's about the £2 mark. Like I buy that personally,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah. It's £1.95.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, it's at Tesco's. Good. Like the one thing I will say about this company is it's the best accessible as far as biltong goes because it's the only one I can ever find. So I would say that's definitely an advantage. Getting into the right locations in terms of your sales, it's going to help you when it comes to making revenue and such.
And what do you think of this one then?
Oh, I'd say because it's so much larger and it's the more expensive of the two, I'd say maybe like £6 for the bag.
Yeah, it's like £7.90, I think.
But to be
Well, no,
fair, a
£7.49
lot
is
more
what
in
it came
terms of
to.
quantity.
It is a lot more. But in terms of like revenue, right? We actually don't have much on Sussex Biltong. Go check them out. They're all over the shop, really. But
I'm sure they've got a lot of other stuff as well.
yeah, they do. But Kruger is apparently around their revenue, right? Is around 12 million,
Oh,
which
that's
is
pretty
insane.
damn good.
I guess because they're part of the jerky group.
Yeah.
It's quite popular in like
And I said
America
they're-
and stuff like that.
They're getting the customers who go to the retailers because I didn't see any other biltong when I usually go to
Yeah,
Tesco.
no, very true. Like you have to look and find hard for local shops like that.
See, wow.
Yeah, we'll move on to the nut section.
Onto the nuts,
Yeah.
not the magazine. Radio.
Radio, my friends.
I do love, and I'll tell you one thing, people. When you're out there working on your business, having a little bowl of snacks next to you is exactly what you need. So this little snack, Spenny or Penny, can give you an indication as to how we fuel ourselves.
I'm struggling to.
What's your
open this
go-to
fucking
snack
packet.
while you're like
Like
working?
To be honest, I don't really snack, but you
You
know
don't
what I've
snack?
got really into recently? It's
You
like a
fasting or something?
guilty pleasure.
Go on.
Is dark chocolate digestives.
Ooh.
I absolutely love them. I'm like munching them.
I don't think I've ever
all
had
the
dark
time.
chocolate ones. I've had the milk
But that's
chocolate
just
ones.
recently. I mean, otherwise I'd pick Biltong all the time, but
Yeah.
obviously sometimes a bit expensive.
I see.
The
Do you know what?
Sussex
I'm a
Biltong.
lover of a bit of pineapple. A little bit of pineapple gets me going, especially in the morning
Fruity.
times. Fruity. And then in the evening, I'm more like sort of nuts, dried fruit, all
You
that
like a
sort
bit
of
of
stuff.
nuts, mate.
No comment.
Bit of nuts in your mouth. No? All right, hold on. I've like literally
Are you
taken half an
struggling
hour to
over
open
there?
this one packet. I haven't even opened the other one.
Oh man.
Great stuff.
Yeah,
Alright.
let us know in the comment sections what your favourite snacks are, or little snacks to try.
one.
We're gonna keep doing Spenny or Penny. We want some good suggestions.
Yeah, we
in.
do. We really do.
Right.
Anything. Right, I'm going to hit you with the first one. Obviously, these
Hit me.
are, once again, slightly different taste.
Cool.
Still flattered out, you know.
Understood.
But
Bap. Right. So I'm getting a fruit and nut mix, obviously.
yes, you are.
Or there's just some really soggy nuts in here. The nuts don't taste great.
No,
I'm not gonna lie.
don't like them.
No,
You want another taster or are you good?
I'm good.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh my god, I think he broke a tooth.
wow.
Whoa.
Right. There's no question which one's more expensive. Let me be polite and finish my mouthful.
I think he likes that one.
Mm.
You can take your blindfold off if you think that's a more expensive one.
That's
then.
100% going to be the
Yeah,
more
yeah.
expensive one. Had like this crystallized stuff
Yeah.
in it. I don't.
And you can taste the difference, surely.
It's the honey. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
The chili and the honey one.
So I was right, yeah.
You were right. You were definitely right. And this was the cheaper one. Yeah.
Wowza. I mean,
Fruit
yeah.
and nut.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, you get quite a lot for your buck there with that
Hmm.
sort of bag, but still, that chili and honey is lovely. What
Is it
brand
good,
is that?
yeah? Well, what are you thinking price-wise,
Forest
mate?
Feast.
What are you thinking price-wise?
I think those cheap bags are they're less than a quid. I'd say like 99p or something like that.
Really?
For cheap bags.
Yeah. You know you're nuts, mate. 59p.
59p though. That's
Yeah.
almost half what I said. That's pretty good.
No, but still under a quid. I wouldn't have guessed.
Oh yeah. And
What,
then the
expensive?
expensive ones, because I would say they're like at least $1.99. Maybe just keep under that £2 mark for marketing.
£3.85. I've actually never heard of them either before.
That's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Do you get quite a lot in it though?
You do.
120 grams.
But then you get a lot in that as well.
200 grams. Yeah.
But then that's fruit and nut, and that's chili and honey. Slightly.
But almost £4 on a bag of nuts.
Flavors.
That's quite expensive.
Depends if you like your nuts, mate.
True.
Yeah. Whoa. That was
tasty though.
Tasty and Spenny and Penny.
Anyway.
Let us know, like we said, if you want to see anything else that we want to try down below, because we're open to suggestions.
We are. Let's get back into it though, shall we?
Yeah.
Woo! Right, and we're back from Spenny or Penny into the topic of the day, competitors, Jay. So I'll kick us off.
Go on, son.
Competitor analysis. So in an umbrella term for you people at home, it's basically the strategic process that you take to evaluate and identify and then monitor the strengths and weaknesses of the other brands out there operating in the same space. That is it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Can you think of any, like, off the top of your head, big companies out there in that sort of remit with one another?
I mean, there's plenty of them. So, I mean, a great example is you've obviously got Nike and Adidas.
True.
They're like primary competitors, essentially, because they compete for the same audience. They have the same kind of products. That's a really, really obvious one to me. Another one would be like the Apple and Samsung rivalry.
Yeah.
Don't know if you've heard much about that.
I haven't. No.
Essentially, Apple and Samsung have been... I mean, you always have that thing, don't you?
Yeah,
What
you're either
phone
an
do you
Apple
have?
person or a Samsung. What are you?
Yeah,
I'm
or an
Apple.
Android, isn't it?
Oh, true.
There's
What are
another
you?
one. I'm Apple as well.
Yeah. I thought
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But like they've always been butting heads
They have.
for like decades now, and it's been hilarious.
All I'm saying though is you Android, Samsung, and Google people out there, like, Jesus Christ, you die on that hill. Like, there's no two ways about it. If you get into a conversation,
public enemy number one here.
oh, bring it on. If you're out there as one of these Samsung or Android like operators, you literally despise Apple people. I swear you wake up in the morning and like punch a punch bag.
I've got a bit of research on them, right?
Oh yeah.
So in terms of the hardware, obviously they both push their boundaries, but obviously Samsung seem to release newer features than Apple, the foldable phone, etc. In terms of software, obviously everyone knows Apple's end-to-end is a closed system, so you can't connect with anything else. I mean, they're starting to expand on that slightly now, whereas like Samsung can pretty much be customizable wherever they go. Then you got marketing, right? Apple obviously sells that lifestyle prestige, whereas Samsung sells innovation and functionality.
True.
Then you go on to supply chain. Now here is the kicker, right? Samsung actually make components for Apple, which I did not know.
No, they don't.
Including iPhone displays.
Really?
So they're partners and rivals at the same time.
That's
How
so
mental is that?
interesting.
That's actually crazy.
That's like a KSI Logan Paul thing where like they sell they sell this story of being like enemies, and then next thing you know, like they're besties.
That's honestly insane. I mean,
I never knew that. That's mad.
Talk about competitor analysis and competitors. Like, how about being partners as well as competitors?
True. Well, you did mention something a minute ago, which I'll pick up on. You mentioned how they're primary competitors. Now, as far as terms go out there, there's 3 statuses of competitors you can have. There's primary, secondary, and territory, however you say that. And to describe
tertiary,
to you what,
isn't it?
Tertiary?
I don't know.
Tertiary.
Sounds Irish.
Whatever it
30
is.
trees.
I read it as territory, but it might be tertiary. Anyway, point being is
Tell
primary.
us who's wrong. Probably me.
It's without a doubt, it's me. Primary, these are direct competitors. So in the example you used, Apple and Samsung, for example, it's like Mackey's.
Primary was like Nike, Adidas.
Oh, sorry, Nike, Adidas. Well, I mean, it's the same thing. Nike, Adidas there. The example I've gone for is Mackey's and KFC. So point being is you effectively have the same service or the same product to a certain degree, and you market to the same audience. And basically what I'm trying to say is the points that you can kind of derive from primary competitors are how they market to their consumers, the reviews that they have as far as the business goes, and then overall sort of their scope of sales. So how they choose to like lift their sort of audiences and like sort of they reduce their marketing over time, and looking at those sorts of trends they do throughout an annum or throughout like time as goes on. So those are primary businesses. So yeah, in the example I have, it's Mackey's to KFC. Using that same element going down to secondary. So these are basically companies that are providing services and products that are not necessarily the same as yours, but they satisfy the same customer needs to a certain degree. So, for example,
So
Mackey's...
the same audience in a way.
100%. So in this example, I'd say Mackey's like Subway. It's not so much as fast food, but it's satisfying the customer need to get some sort of takeout, some sort of lunch sorts.
Well, like a Netflix and a YouTube in a way.
Exactly. So Netflix maybe a more like movie streaming and things like that, whereas YouTube offers, 100%. And the things that you drive from these companies, the things such as like the potential scope for competition. So the companies that you could either maybe utilize some of their marketing from or some of their customer base, but they could also provide you some competition if you need some healthy competition. And secondarily, how to potentially use the same customer base from them is kind of locating yourself nearby them as terms of pop-up shops and things like that. Like you'll always find that whereas there's a Subway, there's usually a fast food right next to it.
There's so many of those.
That. So they give people the options. Like exactly. They give the people the options to go, do I want the healthy or do I want the unhealthy, basically. Yeah. And then thirdly, tertiary, however you say it, indirectly linked competitors. Point being is they pretty much parallel your brand. They're not crossing over with you in any way, but they parallel you. And what you can derive from these companies are things like how you can scale. You could potentially use these companies to piggyback. So you can partner with these companies. They're companies that can go, oh, we'll offer you a deal if you buy from this company, so on and so forth. So you can make them a close friend of yours. So for example, in the same use, it'd be Mackey's to Starbucks. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Okay,
So those are three sort of ways to understand what I mean by when I talk about the different competitors out there.
No, that's interesting. And I think one thing when we allude to like competitors and competitive analysis, as you mentioned, it's all about identifying those opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's finding those gaps in the market where your competitors haven't necessarily filled. And that's something when looking at your own business that you might be starting is definitely something you need to look into.
Yeah. Well, we spoke in the past, funnily enough, about Mackey's benefiting off of the coffee model that Starbucks have.
100%.
They just jumped on it, reduced the price, put it in their own lane, and then that competitor became more prominent.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also about recognizing those threats as well, isn't it? Because that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
You need to see where others are going to maybe outperform you and prepare almost a counterpunch to that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have anything that will, I guess, kind of supplement that, then you're going to just fall behind and they're going to overtake you massively.
They will.
No, so that's something to look at. I mean, you need to have a brilliant USP, essentially.
True.
Because that's what makes you unique, essentially. Like competitive analysis helps you sharpen that because you realize what's out there and what isn't out there.
True. So like
so you can
as
really
far as
hone
like
in on your USP.
Yeah. So as far as like basing that into some sort of question, is it more important to outperform in terms of the product, or is it more important to innovate differently to your competitors or innovate in a different way to your competitors? What would you say is like more important?
I mean, I think there's
Personal
arguments
opinion.
for both, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say you've got obviously when you're looking at competitors, you need to be able to benchmark yourself. That's key because you need to know where you kind of stand within that industry. So that's a good thing when looking at competitors. You also want to be able to outperform your competitors. However, on the other hand, you do need to understand that your vision is your vision and you need to stick to that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to sway away from it.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I see your point for the outperforming side of things. Candidly, I'd say the outperforming isn't as important at all. Point being is like what truthfully separates a company in my mind doing really well or not doing so well isn't necessarily how great the product itself is. Like there's companies out there that because they spend so much time honing in on making the perfect product, these other companies, their sort of speed and their customer focus and their experience focus allows them to perform so much better. And so if you don't put the time into being innovative in your USP, so point being is like, for example, that LC Signs. Have you seen the LC Signs things on social media?
No.
So it's basically this guy out there who they're basically a manufacturer that builds like neon signs.
Right.
Brilliant. And they're brilliant in the way that you like Curry's, like in terms of their social media. They put out social media that's very like catchy and kind of draws an audience and it's polarizing in some way. Point being is LC Signs probably makes the same sort of standard neon signs as every other company.
Yeah.
But the thing is because they've got such a high turnover and they innovate in the way where they go, we're going to make polarizing content. That's almost their USP.
Oh, no.
They then perform so much better as an overall company. I can't think of another neon sign company out there as hard as I try.
I mean, well, like my actual opinion on it is I sit on the fence. I say it's a balance of both worlds.
Fair enough.
Because ultimately you need to keep an eye on the competition, but you need to also have your vision in mind, because you don't want to let your competition dictate your direction, essentially.
True. And if you've got a crap product, you've got a crap product.
Well, exactly. But then the competition helps you because you learn from their mistakes. You spot the market gaps. You spot the opportunities. What works, what's popping, what's not popping.
Yeah.
And you can really hone in on that. So the competitor side of it is good. However, like you said, innovation matters. You need to be able to innovate, upgrade, and almost overtake your competitors in a way.
Agreed. Let us know what you think, though, guys. If you think it's more important to outperform or to be innovative in your USP, love to hear your thoughts on it. And companies yourselves you want us to maybe have a little look at in certain spaces to tell you how they separate themselves.
Prime example of that is Apple, isn't it? I mean,
true.
They've innovated their own lane essentially within the mobile device industry. So it's crazy. Like they just stuck to it. They stuck to their vision and overtook everyone essentially and made their own market.
I mean, it's almost like it's like a cult that they've put together as far as those. Do you remember those old school videos of Apple like seminars, like they sort of TED Talks? Like, you got these guys walking out who are like all IT guys, like dancing and stuff, and it's just. But like the whole audience is going crazy for them. It's like a concert. It is mad. Anyway, we're going to get into our next segment for you now, people. We've got your favourite. We're bringing it in this week. It's a bit of workplace stories for you all. Do you know what the workplace stories is about, Jamie?
I do. Co-worker rivalries.
Co-worker rivalries. So yes, people, the gloves are off.
Proper
we're going to see the co-workers going at it.
There's some good ones here.
So, Jamie, this story is a mad one. Back in the good old days of Vine. So the title is Do It for the Van. Okay.
Vine. Fucking throwback.
Here we go. I recently had an experience with one of our new employees, a good friend of the boss who got employed from a recommendation of the supervisor.
Okay.
We'd all come to learn that he had a Vine account. His content involved pranking not only us, but our customers, which led to quite a lot of complaints. I walked into the back room and the first thing I saw was this new employee holding my lunch in a plastic container in his hand and a long, streaky stream of spit leaving his mouth. The spit landed in my food, but it did not stop my gut reaction to snatch the meal out of his hand. Right? This is crazy. So they'd been going back and forth up to here, and she'd been putting in complaints about him, and it led to this, right? So this, I don't know how old he is. She goes, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" basically. And he's like, "Oh, it's a prank, mate. Calm down. It's a prank." Even though he spat in her food. So she was then pointing to a shelf where a camera phone was... Sorry, he was pointing to the camera to say it's set up and he was filming it as a prank.
Right, yeah.
And she was like, "I don't give a shit." And as she's like shouting at him, the manager comes out, this supervisor he's friend with. The manager's like, "What the hell's going on here?" She's like, "He's just spat in my food." Anyway, the manager then turns around, friend of this new guy,
right,
and goes, "Well, where did you leave it?" She's like, "In the fridge. Why is that important?" And he goes, the manager then says, "Well, it's a communal area, isn't it? You need to be more careful where you leave your food." She's like, "Oh, really? I'll just go into the fridge and spit in your lunch then, shall I?" The manager literally turns around and goes, "Just be careful next time." To her, even though this guy, so there's a proper rivalry going on between the two, manager's always
was he like famous on Vine or something?
No, apparently he had like bugger all followers as well. Anyway, so she goes, "You know what?" She rips off her badge. She goes, F you, I'm out of here," and
storms
quits.
Off.
So she storms off. She's like, obviously, like if her manager's not allowing someone to spit in her food.
I mean, yeah, fair play. But
anyway, a week later, just to give you a bit of a conclusion to the story, HR had performed a full investigation into both people. She was offered the job back under a new, more health-oriented manager at a higher pay, and as a result, she looked into the guy's Vine account and he lost all of his following because people were commenting on that video saying, "You're disgusting." So the guy lost his following, they both lost their job, and she ended up coming off all right. But what a rivalry going on.
Do you remember
there.
Vine, though? Because it was like
Vine
that.
Vine was sick.
It was like Vine. That. Like, people doing pranks. They're not pranks. They're just like...
bang out of order.
They were just doing crazy stuff to people.
So,
like, you've been pranked.
Don't do it for the Vine
crazy.
People. Or TikTok. TikTok's nowadays. Don't do it for the TikTok.
Don't do it for the Vine. Do it for the Vine. All right, my one. The passive-aggressive thermostat war.
Okay.
Right?
I can see where this is going.
This is brilliant. In an open plan office, two co-workers, let's call them Harry and Charlie.
Yeah.
Right? They created an epic month-long battle over the thermostat. Every morning, good old Harry would walk into work, crank it up to a tropical 28 degrees.
Oh, that is tropical.
Yeah, and by lunchtime, Charlie would drop it to 16.
Wow.
Then, right, sticky notes started appearing.
No.
Do you work in a sauna, Harry? Question mark. Bring a jacket, Charlie. It's not my fault. You're cold-blooded.
That's a good one.
They're having like a proper crack at this for a whole
Yeah.
month, right? Same thing keeps happening. Eventually, HR had to intervene. They set a neutral zone temperature
Yeah.
of 22 degrees. But this tension, right, still lingers because every time one of them walks past the thermostat, they're like, oh, is he going to turn it? Is he going to turn it? But yeah, that was it, basically.
Cool. I've actually got a video,
that's
funnily
hilarious,
enough.
that.
I'll have to bleep it for YouTube. It'll be up on the Patreon. Ahmed, right? When I was training for the job that I do now, I've got a video of him going back and forth to somebody, changing the thermostat in the room that we're in, and he's like fuming. He walks up and changes it, and then turns around. I'm filming it, and he's like really angry. And then he looks at me and laughs. So I've experienced that firsthand. You got to
put that video in the Patreon.
I'll put it in the video in the Patreon.
Yeah,
I saw it the other day, so
That's
I'll 100%
jokes.
put that video up.
But like, no, that is brilliant. I think that's such a classic, typical office kind of war.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt.
That's brilliant.
Right, I've got a bit of a different one here.
Go on.
So it's called the unethical fake job reference. Okay. So this woman, we'll call her friend Joanne. Okay.
Right.
So Joanne is my BFF and my co-worker currently. And my friend, we'll call her Melanie, was a former co-worker, but also a friend of mine.
Okay.
Both Joanne and Melanie applied for the exact same job. And it was awesome because they both got through to the interview stage. However, the diligent Melanie, who'd obviously left her current workplace in the past, she left the company and she asked this woman to be a reference for her. Anyway, further down the line, she then tells Joanne, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm a reference for Melanie. You don't want to like cross any paths here. But Joanne and Melanie had a bit of a rivalry going on. So Joanne tells me how intense the application process is. She's so stressed. Apparently she was having issues at home and she was completely frazzled. Anyway, the woman, she was like, I'm still expecting a call from the hiring company. I'll make sure to give a good reference to Melanie, but I'm not going to bias anyone.
Yeah.
Joanne goes, okay. She hears nothing of it. A few weeks go by and no call from the hiring company. Anyway, she sat having lunch with Joanne one day, obviously because she still works with Joanne, and Joanne confesses everything. She goes, one of the days recently, she was in my office. She intercepted a call from the hiring company and the rep wanted to talk about Melanie's employability. Joanne then proceeded to tell the rep that Melanie was intelligent, but actually lazy and completely entitled. She didn't think that the reference was bad enough to tarnish Melanie's chances or her reputation, and she begged for my forgiveness. Joanne is normally a very sweet person. I don't think she would have done this if she hadn't been so stressed. However, my question is, what do I do now? That's how it ends. But yeah, Joanne used her rivalry to go as a fake reference for Melanie and try and axe her. Neither of them got the job.
That's savage.
So savage.
That's like taking your rivalry to a new end.
Is. That
you know
is.
What I mean? That's like actually stopping someone from...
I mean, she wasn't even working at the company anymore, but she just wanted the job so bad that she intercepted the reference and then still didn't get the job. Joanne.
Naughty.
Naughty.
Right, I've got another classic one. I feel like this probably happens quite a lot.
Okay.
The parking lot showdown.
Okay, yeah.
King of the spot. At a business downtown office, there was one parking spot.
Yeah.
The prime deal,
spot.
the real deal. Just steps away from the front door.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't just any spot. This was the golden ticket. Enter two co-workers, both equally desperate to secure that spot each morning. One was a super early riser, right? Always getting there before the sun. The other, a night owl.
Oh, okay.
So you see the issue.
I do, but I don't understand how they cross paths. But carry on.
The night owl will work into the early morning.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. Anyway, tension grew, right? The early bird started to block the spot with the traffic cones because he'd realise early bird would get there, leave, and then when next morning it would be taken. So he started blocking it with traffic cones. Yeah. Essentially.
It's pretty petty, though.
It is very petty. Night owl, what did he do? Move the cone.
It's not an overcome problem, is it?
After a few weeks of madness, the ultimate act of sabotage occurred One employee showed up one morning to find the space had been completely filled and with a new reserved for management sign. You couldn't make this up. What the early bird did is he wrote a new reserve for management sign on that parking spot so no one else could intervene. Apparently HR just have done nothing with it because they couldn't be asked. It's a parking spot.
I mean, yeah, there's not much you could do, is it?
That's hilarious.
I like that finish though. That's a strong
I've
finish.
actually got like in an office that I work in.
Yeah.
There's this one chair I love.
The chair.
Like no, like a desk space, right?
Okay, yeah.
And obviously people have to book it in online now. So we have this thing where you book it in and you secure it. Yeah. But you can only book like I think it's like 2 weeks in advance or something like that, or like a week and a half. And I'm used to this. So I'd be like maybe 3-4 days out, but I'm going into the office, I'll book my chair. Booked. And I walk into the office, I'm like eyeballing the guy sitting in my chair. I just does my nut in there. I won't make it a rivalry. I'll let him have his. He wins.
Break his neck.
Fair play. He wins it.
Right, my last one. So I've got this title is called "They're Lying, but It's Justified." Now, you might have heard me say that a bit weirdly. They're lying, but it's justified. But they're lying, but it's justified. Anyway, here we go. I have a coworker from South Africa who was asking
South African accent.
So many dumb questions.
South African accent.
It was good, eh?
No, you need to do.
I'll do it when I'm getting into the
when you get
debate,
the quotes.
Right? So I have a coworker from South Africa who was asked so many dumb questions by other coworkers. They decided to have some fun with it as a rivalry. Okay, coworker one.
I like it.
I apologise for what I'm about to do, South Africans. What kind of food? What
is that?
Kind of. They go up and down, don't they, Saffers? So, what kind of food do you eat in South Africa? I can do South Africa. I can't do anything else. I'm just going back to English, bro.
No.
What kind of food do you eat?
Don't pussy out of it.
Oh, God, all right. What kind of food do you eat in South Africa? Like a giraffe and a lion? This is the co-worker, the new guy. South African guy. He goes, no, those are our pets. We don't eat those.
You can stop now.
Thanks. The co-worker comes back to him. You have a pet lion?
We don't eat those.
The South African guy's like, of course I have a pet lion at home, and I rode a giraffe into work today. The co-worker, that's so cool.
So is he gullible?
Fully believing it, gullible as anything. The South African guy, actually, that's not considered cool. All these cool kids rode in on cheetahs into work today, much faster. One family rode on an elephant, and the guy's like, do they like live in houses? Like, do you keep them at home? And the South African goes, no. They live in our huts. And the guy was like, what happens if it rains? And South African guy goes, no. It never rains in South Africa. The guy's like, but what about the plants? And the South African manager again, we import them and then watch them die because it does not rain in South Africa. Anyway, this is like one of many interactions, but this lasted weeks and weeks and weeks, getting progressively more ridiculous until the co-worker realised they were being savagely mocked and they lost that rivalry.
Who do you know that's super gullible like that?
Do you know what? I was my family will say this. I was the most gullible kid ever. I was so gullible on the ceiling. Where? Every time.
No one that we know.
Stupid.
Who do you think that we know?
Who do we know that's gullible?
I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Without a doubt.
Anyway, YouTube won't see that. Patreon will. But my one, right? The door drama. All right, this is quite long, but
go for it.
We like a story.
We do
like a story. Picture this, right?
Picturing
2 co-workers, small office. Close your eyes when you picture this. Getting along fine until one evening, the door incident happens.
The door incident. Okay.
Apparently, one worker, let's just call her Lucy, couldn't stand at the office door. Oh, no, that was wrong. I've read this wrong.
Go again.
No, I was right. Couldn't stand that the office door had been left open overnight.
Oh, couldn't stand that the office door had been left open.
Yeah, I just read that really wrong.
Grammar, mate.
Another guy called James. He said he could see it was pissing her off.
Yeah.
And her blood pressure was fucking rising. Every time she glanced at the door. So, what James did is he thought, this is a fucking brilliant idea. Yeah. I'm going to keep leaving the door open. The door competition began. The next morning, obviously, Lucy would storm in, complain, close the door. Happened like for a couple of weeks, right? Yeah. Until one morning, She came in fuming. She screamed, apparently, nobody has any respect for doors. What? James, the ever cool, co-worker, right, goes, chill and close the door. It's fine. It's not that deep. Then she goes, no.
This is not fine.
You don't understand. I know it's you. I think it's you. You did this. I'm not gonna sit here with this door open and wind blowing in my face. Random as anything, right?
My days.
James basically was like, whoa, this is kicking off a bit too much. I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna walk away. Right? Lucy was not finished.
No?
Not even close. She marched straight to the duty manager and claimed that James had pushed her.
What?
Fuck knows. Straight up lied about it, right? Despite a room full of witnesses who saw screaming like a madwoman, James just walk off.
Yeah.
Long story short, basically, James gets sent home, and the very next day, Lucy dropped her resignation letter in, just like that.
Mad.
Apparently, after a tantrum in the office, she didn't want to come face the co-workers again.
Yeah, you can understand.
All
Here's a little thing.
over a door.
That is mad. Got a
I'm
little question
sorry,
for you,
that's
though.
mental.
More doors or more wheels in the world? Straight answer. That's like a little train
Wheels.
going around. Wheels?
Yeah.
I'd say doors. Think about the skyscrapers,
Four
mate.
doors on a car as well.
4 doors on a
Five
car.
doors on a car.
5 doors. But there are little wheels in like tech stuff, so you might be right. Anyway, let us know at who
You know,
if you think it's more
actually,
wheels or doors.
that reminds me, right? One
What?
thing that pisses me off.
Okay.
Walking down the street,
Walking down the street
and
pisses you
you've
off.
got
Slow
a
walkers,
slow walker in front of you,
just stay home.
and you want to like...
You don't deserve to be out in public.
It almost becomes a competition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You got to like try and overtake them.
Yeah.
Like, just... Oh,
Frustrating.
that's
Really
a
frustrating.
rivalry.
Anyway, we will get back into the episode
Yeah, man.
now.
So, obviously, when talking about competitors, we need to discuss to the people what are the benefits from learning from them in terms of the successes and the failures.
Yeah, for the individual entrepreneurs
100%.
of that.
I mean, for
generations.
me, when starting out, it's obviously like when we started out, it's like, ooh, do we want to take that risk?
Yeah.
What if something happens? What if a mistake happens? How are we going to work around it, essentially? But brilliant thing for us is we got to use competitor analysis
We did.
to find out what our competitors have done, where they've gone wrong, and where they've succeeded.
Yeah.
This really allowed us to scope out our plan and understand where we want to target, where we might find a USP. Also, what can we do to leverage our current businesses?
Well, you hit some nails on the head there. The oversight of all of this is just that risk avoidance side of stuff.
Huge.
When you really understand your competitors, you get the 411 on what to do, what not to do in a general
Huge.
sense. And then you also get to get ahead of companies that are falling short somewhere. If you go into companies in terms of detailing what they do well and what they do wrong, you get to have the jump basically, because if a company, let's say, is doing wrong on X, then you get to come into that space, do X from the off, like benefit from that, and then promote yourself by saying, oh, we do what this company doesn't do. It gives you that edge straight from the off. So that
straight
risk
away.
avoidance to enter into the world of business,
Yeah.
if you think you've got a good enough product to compete, you're already ahead and running.
And in terms of, I guess, finding those slip-ups or those mistakes that companies have made, I don't know, brilliant kind of avenues that I took to find that out, probably same for you, was simply going on their reviews
Yeah.
as well, depending on what industry you're in, obviously. But everyone leaves a
Massively.
customer review, and you can find out, if you go to the worst ones, how many are there and what's the same problem that keeps occurring.
Yeah, and you can piggyback that also to kind of use these people as almost like guinea pigs in a
Huge.
scenario. If it's kind of like you want to acquire a bunch of customers, my point. And if these people have got reviews out there that, let's say, had 100 likes on, or 100 other comments, or 100 like upvotes, let's call it, you go to these individuals, you send them a personal message like, look, I'm up and coming in this space.
Yeah.
This is my products. Want you to review this because I trust your word because you've operated in this space before. Maybe give you a discount. It's customer acquisition, like in a really intelligent way. Really intelligent.
It's very
way.
good. It's a brilliant way to like easily find, I don't know, almost like quick prey, if you call it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like easy targets that you can hit, but people
I
that
said
will...
guinea pigs, you said prey. That's a sign of what kind of people we are, bro.
Science, mate. Anyway, moving on, I guess. Also, being able to look at their content, their marketing strategies, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, see what they've tried to promote and see what's flopped, see what's popped off. That way you can also gauge whether a certain industry trend is coming into play.
True.
And you can hop on that straight away, potentially, and do it yourself and leverage it for your own audience.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You got any other points around that?
Well, hopping on the trends, I mean, it takes me into something that I was looking at a bit more detailed, which was you can hop on this sort of marketing that other companies do, and you can use it as a great way to give yourself the right steps in developing your brand in the right ways for the customers that are out there. However, that does get you into the dirty waters of copyright. Now, copyright's there's a massive scale here, and truthfully, if you're going to try and go down the avenue of starting a business, you really have to be alert to the potential copyright and trademarks and all these things out there that you can open yourself up towards. So to give yourself a general sense as to what things can be copyrighted out there, if you are going to go down the avenue of looking at another company's marketing, advertising, so on and so forth, big things to make sure you stay out of the way of is logos, titles, and phrases. These things get put under copyright regulations really, really quickly. And then outside of that, when it comes to the marketing specifically, things like music, things like the pictures that are used, things like the packaging for companies, like you do not want to copy packaging. You can sometimes make a very similar product, but having completely different packaging changes the whole dynamic of it. Like, for example, paracetamol. Like, there's loads of paracetamol brands that sell the exact same form of paracetamol. The difference is the packaging and what they write on the packaging and how they brand themselves. And that allows them to be the exact same product, but be sold separately. And then another side thing you do need to look out for is web design, web development, and how your website is structured. If you do exactly what somebody else is doing, you open yourself up to potential copyright infringements.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny, the paracetamol one that you mentioned, because I've recently heard that there's, so you know, in like a meal deal, you can find boiled eggs, like just in a pot, or sometimes with some like salad. And it's sold in like Tesco's, M&S, Sainsbury's, etc.
Yeah, I've seen it,
It's the same exact boiled egg from the same place, which I did not know.
Really?
There's a job out there, right, where people literally package these boiled eggs, pop them in the same pot, but for separate, I guess, shops or markets, whatever you want to call it.
Somebody's out there popping out thousands of boiled eggs.
You look at it, you look at like the M&S one, or you look at the Sainsbury's one, they're like priced way higher than Tesco's, for example, but it's the same egg. Anyway, that actually brings me on to like another point that we have to talk about competitive analysis is you can also observe price points with them. So you can see, like, this is something we personally did as well when looking into our business. We looked at what competitors were out there, what they're pricing their product at, and the reasons for their justification for that price. So when we were looking into our product in particular, there's obviously different kind of styles or kind of customization you can add to the products. And each one varied slightly. However, when looking into people that we knew, other manufacturers, etc., we found out that you could probably price it a lot lower, and that can be your USP because you can become really cost effective then. You can,
but also you want to benefit off of those profit margins and maybe give yourself the realization where you go, why aren't they being sold so cheap? And then you sell so cheap, and then you realize you come into these obstacles and you go, it makes sense now. So don't just undercut your competition by a massive amount thinking that's going to save you.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily going to
Everyone's got to make some sort of profit somewhere, otherwise
Exactly.
I don't know what you're doing. But moving on, so when it comes to competitive analysis, a huge tool is SWOT analysis. Have you heard of this before?
Yes.
I'm sure you have. Yeah. Many people have.
This is a forte for yourself, isn't it?
It is. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Essentially what we're looking at for strengths is what you're doing better than competitors. What do you offer that's unique in comparison to others? When you look at weaknesses, you're looking at where are your competitors outperforming you? This could be anywhere. Do they have a bigger audience? Do they have better funding? Is their technology more advanced? Etc., etc. Opportunities. This one is where you need to look for gaps in the market that you can really capitalize on. So basically, in your market, is there an underserved niche that you can target? That's what we're really looking for. I mean, any emerging trends that people are ignoring that you can hop on, like we mentioned with marketing, or could you potentially offer better pricing, as we mentioned earlier as well? In terms of threats, this is a huge one, and I think we'll probably elaborate on risks in future episodes. But what are the external risks that could impact your businesses? Is
Risks
this
are
new
huge.
competitors? You've got to keep an eye out for them. People coming onto the market, they could easily come on and sweep you up. Similar to Prime, in a way.
That's a good point.
You've got economical changes, you've got political shifts, technology shifts. There's loads. You look at AI right now, it's crazy. The amount of companies that probably haven't adapted AI, they're probably going to fall behind. You need to watch out for that space.
True. And that sort of SWOT analysis also, for people like myself who operate much more visually, it's a really good tool to be there like, okay, here's the scope of a company without having to have pages and pages of analysis on a company. It goes, here are the 4 structures, here are the 4 points, and then just literally have a meeting with your business partner if you've got one, or investors or whatever else, or just with yourself to say, okay, here are all the points in the strengths, how can you benefit, like in the pros and the cons, how you can offer differences in those sort of styles, and then the risks, mitigation.
Exactly. I mean, it's huge for your business plan. If you need a SWOT analysis in there, because your investors are going to look into it and they're going to go, right, have they done their due diligence? Have they done their prep work? Oh, look at this analysis plan. Oh, it looks good. It looks clean. They know exactly what they're doing. They've spotted all the risks. Here's the mitigations to them. I'm happy to invest.
Without a doubt. To be fair, it reminds me of another company that was out there, and I mentioned this earlier with the whole side of copyright and trademarks and stuff. There's a company that thought they could benefit off of operating in the same space as another by doing a SWOT analysis, and they got caught out.
Did they?
So this was between Christian Louboutin and Yves Saint Laurent. I think I did a good old little French twist on that. Anyway, back in 2011, a high-stakes legal battle occurred between these two because Yves Saint Laurent were coming into the space of garments and accessories and so forth. And they went, you know what? We're going to make some shoes with red bottoms on, which obviously is a staple of the Louboutin brand. It's the sort of red sole shoe, effectively. Now, Christian Louboutin saw that they were trying to come up in the space and benefit off of Christian Louboutin's USP, and were like, I'm having none of that, right? So, in 2012, it was then concluded with the US Court of Appeals that Louboutin's red sole trademark was valid. So they decided to stick it to YSL. Oof. However, what was put in the clause is to say that YSL can operate with red shoes as long as it's not just independently the sole of the shoe. So YSL has since have gone on to sell entirely red shoes in order to keep that sort of red sole look to it. But they were kind of stuck to them by saying they thought they did a right analysis on the company, said, oh, they can't take this USP, let's infiltrate. But you stepped on a trademark and ouch, got caught out.
Well, for example, there's tools out there, right, that people can use if you are worried about potentially stepping on a trademark, similar to what Ollie just explained. You could use a tool called Ukippo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like basically Companies House kind of government tool where you can type in maybe a phrase, something related to your business or product, and see what is trademarked out there. Do that because you don't want to get caught in
really don't.
An allegation where you're getting sued, essentially.
I mean, it brings us to our next point of the day. We're now going to get into another staple segment for you people, a bit of Battle of the Hosts, and we're hitting up the big old court cases of the world. The big old times that people have won and lost in the world of business, where the gloves are off and somebody came out the victor.
Ooh. So you doing businesses?
I'm doing business cases. You're doing
people's
cases, and we're going to basically question one another, and we're going to guess who was the victor.
Like a versus, isn't it?
A little battle of the hosts. Let's get into it.
Woo!
We're into battle of the hosts today. We've just been discussing our punishment, so we're having some suggestions coming from people. Keep them coming. We're getting some good ones coming, for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring them on.
We definitely will. However, for today, we're having the Tabasco pepper sauce, which I have no idea how hot it is. I don't know if it says somewhere on it. It's sort of like a Scoville unit thing. I don't think it does. But
it's got like a heat rating at the top, no?
Smells hot. I mean, it says 3 out of 5 as the heat rating. But I'm not a fan of
We're easing into it, right?
We say that.
We'll get into the Reapers later.
Maybe.
I
don't know. We'll see how this goes first.
Right.
But today's Battle of the Hosts, as we described to you, is legal battles where myself will be guessing if the entrepreneur has won the case or if the other person has, and Jamie will be guessing if the business has won the case compared to the other. So yeah, James,
you ready?
Get into it.
Cool. First one up, right? John Scully
versus
Steve Jobs.
Oh, okay.
1985. The case, essentially, in a nutshell, Steve Jobs was ousted from Apple in a power struggle with John Scully. That's it, essentially.
That's all I'm
I can give you a bit more, right?
Okay.
Jobs tried to take back control.
Yeah.
So he's now appealed to the board.
Okay. I'm going to say...
Who do you think won?
The winner was John Scully.
Correct. Any reason?
I've looked into this before.
You've seen it, yeah. This is my easy one.
It was on an Apple documentary I watched years ago.
Yeah,
I do remember that. That was a big old thing from Steve Jobs leaving and then coming back later with a tsunami
essentially,
worth of brains.
Jobs was removed as Apple's CEO.
He was.
And forced out the company. Scully remained in control for several years until Jobs returned in 1997.
And then
leading Apple to success with the innovative products.
Okay, cool. That's one.
So you did well.
I did.
We only got 5 to be fair. So
cool.
Lord Sugar versus the Apprentice contestants.
Interesting.
2011.
Okay. Wow. And what was the case?
A former contestant of The Apprentice claimed Lord Sugar's company did not honour the agreement to offer them a job after they won the competition, leading to a breach of contract lawsuit.
Do you know what?
Who do you think won? This one, I'm surprised has not been talking about a lot. Like, it's been hushed. I've not heard of this before.
Do you know what? That was going to kind of be part of my answer. I have a feeling Sugar's got to come with some banging lawyers. Do you know what I mean? He's got to be coming fully fledged. So I reckon he would have won that case.
You reckon he won it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Correct. Might be too nice here. Lord Sugar won the case, arguing that the contract was subject to conditions such as suitability of the role and other factors that needed to be considered post-show. Despite winning, the case raised questions about the reality of the promises on the TV show.
Understood.
Right, another one. Mike Ashley, Sport Direct, versus the workers.
Ooh.
Essentially, Mike Ashley, the founder of Sports Direct, faced multiple legal battles regarding employees' rights and working conditions. Who do you think won?
As much as I'd love to say the working man...
This was in 2017, if you need a date as well. If that helps.
It doesn't. As much as I'd love to say the working man would have come through with a win, I feel like I reckon I'm going with the big dog.
Fair enough. You are wrong, my friend. No. Sport Direct lost, the employees won.
Really?
Yeah. So they found favour of the workers, ruling that Sports Direct had violated various employment rights. The case led to a significant overhaul of working practices within the company, including back pay and improvements in working conditions. Jeez. To be fair...
Do you want to do the honours? Have you shaken this up at all?
I've shaken it, yeah.
You have, okay.
To be fair, you'll shake it another time.
I can smell that from here.
Ooh.
Jeez.
She's spicy. See how quick it comes out. Oh, that's cool. I didn't mean for all of that to come out. All right. But that's pretty mental, right?
That is mental.
Because Sports Direct is like...
I didn't hear about that.
But they've died. Like, I actually remember them just...
I had a job interview there once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Back in the day. I think I did, actually. They asked me to sell them a gel insole for a trainer. That was my interview. I had to sell them.
I've not heard that before.
Because you get commission at Sports Direct.
That's crazy. Yeah, we should probably do something like that, like interview tips and tricks or something. I don't know. See if you guys want that. Comment down below because that'd be interesting. Right. So Richard Branson versus Expedia.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a dispute about cancelled flights and refunds.
I see.
Who do you think won?
The airlines get a bad rep for these sort of cancelled flight things. I'm going to say Expedia won.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You are wrong, my friend.
Really?
Yeah. Virgin Holidays, so Branson's company, won. Yeah. So essentially what happened was the case was resolved in Virgin Holidays' favour, but it had a lasting impact on Expedia's relationship with Virgin.
I bet.
The dispute showed how even well-established brands like Virgin can face challenges when dealing with larger platforms.
See.
Crazy.
Do you know what? Another thing for you. Another fact.
Go on.
Richard Branson used to be my neighbour. Now, I'm not some sort of rich kid people. Do not worry.
Really?
But When
did I not
I
know
was
that?
living in Oxford, I had a house share with a bunch of people.
Oh, I remember that.
and
Yeah.
It was a big old house of like 9 people. So there was 9 of us sharing it, like £500 a room, whatever,
That's
student
crazy.
accommodation. And the next door neighbour to us was Richard Branson. Yeah.
Did you ever see him?
No, never. I saw he used to fly into
He probably
Oxford
has
Airport on his private
multiple
jet, so you'd see
homes.
that.
Yeah.
But like, this estate was huge. He used to have like a nature reserve that you could walk through.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it was
crazy.
insane. It was
He
insane.
probably has like.
But shout out to
multiple
everyone who shared that
homes.
house with back in Kidlington, Oxford. Legends.
You didn't even hear me interrupt.
Sorry, I didn't. What did you say?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Next one.
Last one.
Tim Martin,
Tim Martin.
Weatherspoons
Okay.
versus the government,
Okay.
UK government.
Wow.
Pub lockdown dispute.
Interesting.
That's all you're gonna get.
Lockdown dispute. What did you say before? Pub.
Well, during COVID, right?
Okay.
Do you remember all the pubs got locked down?
Yeah.
So this is essentially what they're doing. So I can give you a bit more if you want.
A little tad.
Marston argued
Yeah.
that the government's decision had unfairly discriminated against the hospitality sector. That's the dispute that he took to court. Who won?
I'm going to say he won. I think the government didn't operate well during that time, so I'm going to say he came with a win.
You're wrong. UK government won. The case was ultimately dismissed, with the judge siding with the government's decision on public health grounds. However, the legal battle brought attention to struggles of hospitality industry during the pandemic.
This is a lot of Tabasco, man.
You got another drop, boy.
I'm really bad with spice. This is almost like a full...
Doesn't come out though, and then it just comes out.
Okay.
Well, I'm
bro.
trying not to drip everywhere, broski.
I don't care about
Trying to get on the
drip.
spoon.
Don't get it on the
Drip,
slider, to be
really.
fair. You don't want it on the slider.
Exactly.
That is an awful lot in there, by the way, people.
So you got 2 right,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. The scores are on here anyway. Go on, son.
I can't breathe. Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah. Tingling, eh?
That's really spicy.
Ooh.
I'll try and refrain from the water for a minute.
Yeah.
I'll
Good
crack
lad.
on.
Crack on. Is it actually really
Jeez, my
bad?
throat's on fire.
It's actually really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you get me nervous, mate.
Right. First of all, I'll try and make sense of what I'm saying. Monster Energy versus Monster Pizza in 2018. Monster Energy, known for aggressively protecting its trademark, attempted to block a UK pizza joint named Monster Pizza from trademarking its name, claiming it was too similar to its own. Public reaction leaned towards the humorous and ridiculous nature of the claim, given their very different markets. Who won?
How was it?
Well,
How's the
Marcus
pizza company spelled?
Monster. So not monster, not
With
with
an
an
A
ER,
at
with
the
an A
end.
at the end. I'm going to need to have some water.
Who won?
Who won?
Surely the pizza company.
The winner was the pizza company. You're
Yeah,
right.
because it's not the same name.
So Monster Energy eventually lost, with the UK Intellectual Property Office finding no likelihood of confusion.
Yeah.
So you're right. I probably shouldn't have given you the name title then. Anyway, moving on. Subway's footlong sandwich back in 2013. Subway faced a class action lawsuit after an Australian teenager posted a photo online of a sandwich that was only 11
Not a
inches
foot long.
long. So not the full long footlong promised in advertisements. Who won?
Subway.
Wrong.
Really?
The Australian teenager won.
Wow.
The case ended with Subway agreeing to assure that their bread from now on were always 12 inches long. Although the plaintiffs only received a nominal payout and the attorneys gained roughly $500,000 in legal fees.
What?
I know. Jesus, my mouth is on
That's
fire.
mental for literally one little sandwich. You think they'd have like something in the background that state like Lord Sugar did, where
Yeah,
it's like,
you think so?
oh, it doesn't have to be exact.
Yeah. Next up,
Crazy.
Apple
Yeah. Apple.
versus the FBI. So this legal standoff revolved around the FBI requesting Apple to unlock an iPhone used by one of the shooters in the 2015 San Bernardino attack. Apple refused, citing its own privacy concerns. So who won, the FBI or Apple?
FBI.
Wrong.
Really? Apple won that?
The case was dropped when the FBI found an alternative way to unlock the phone, but the judge ruled that without Apple's help, they were going to be able to stand by their citing privacy concerns and not open the phone to the FBI.
That's insane.
That is mad, isn't it?
That's backwards.
The
That's
judge
wrong.
basically said that Apple was like, yeah, they need to uphold these privacy concerns, and sorry, I put a lot on there. That the FBI had no right, basically.
That's wrong.
I know.
That's really
especially with like the case that was specific. But I guess once the FBI had an in there, my mouse getting better now. Once the FBI had an in there, then they could, I guess, open up a whole world of problems. So that's, I guess, why the judge ruled in Apple's favor.
Strange, but yeah, I get it.
Next up, so you got two left. Lucasfilm versus Jedi Mind Incorporated.
Oh my gosh.
Lucasfilm, the company behind Star Wars, sued Jedi Mind for the trademark infringement over the use of the term Jedi, which made software that was allowing the users to control computers with their minds. It was ordered to cease after the name and pay a settlement, but by who? So who won? Lucasfilms with putting in the infringement, or Jedi Mind by saying that their property and their name of Jedi use was
Jedi Mind, I reckon.
Wrong.
Really?
Wrong.
Really?
Lucasfilm victory protected its trademarks in association with the Star Wars franchise, demonstrating its control over the brand's extensive and lucrative mythology.
I see what you're doing here. You're switching it up.
I am switching it up.
You little bastard.
I'm not going to make it easy for you.
Oh, shit. I spilled a bit. Pour more
I'm going to give you a little bit extra there.
Yeah,
now.
pour a lot more on.
1, 2.
A little bit more. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't mean to fuck it.
That's all right. That's all right. I respect the honesty. Finally, your last one. So we're even now. So if you get this wrong, you lose. If you get it right, we draw. Viagra ice cream. Pfizer, the maker of Viagra, attempted to shut down an ice cream company that produced Viagra-flavored ice cream called the Arousal. The ice cream, which contained sildenafil, however you say that, the active ingredient of Viagra,
really
was made for a celebrity event. Pfizer didn't appreciate the gimmick and tried to enforce its trademark rights. So who won?
Surely
Pfizer or the ice cream company? The winner was Pfizer.
Yeah,
it's a draw, people.
Huge.
Pfizer came in with a win, and the Viagra ice cream had to be pulled from production.
Really? All right.
Enjoy, bro.
I will.
How is it? It's hot, eh? My lips are on fire now.
I thought it'd be better than what your reaction was.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that?
I get hiccups when I have something hot.
It's malfunctioning.
Do you want me to drink? Or
I had a drink.
I have hiccups.
Try and hold it for a second. Try and hold it.
I'll have hiccups for like. Do you not get that? It's only me.
I'm loving this.
I generally get hiccups.
You generally do you?
Yeah, I might. I thought it actually went. No, that's so annoying.
Oh, I love this. This is brilliant. Who gets hiccups from spice? I've never heard of that.
If I haven't I don't know. I actually might be done now. I think it's done.
You think it's done?
I don't know. It just
If
sneaks
it
up
hits
on
you
you.
again,
It just
I'm
hits
gone.
me.
Right. Well, let's get back into the episode now and see if this man hiccups anymore. That is hilarious.
I did not expect that.
That is so funny.
I don't actually know what happened with my body there.
You don't?
I malfunctioned.
That was so funny. So funny.
My lips are still tingling. I don't know about you.
Yeah, mine are definitely tingling.
Oh dear. Right. I mean,
we haven't had any milk yet, even though we're struggling.
It's not.
It's not.
Like,
It's not.
I don't know what happened to me, mate. Just started fucking hiccuping.
Yeah, to be fair, the second the cameras were off, people, he was fine. Then it was the funniest thing.
Literally, as soon as I had a bit of water, I was fine. I don't know how.
I'm just gonna go
I don't know if
for
do you not get that? Like, I'll eat a hot wing or
Spicy
something.
Sorry.
I'll eat like a hot wing or something, right? And then I'll start hiccuping because of the initial spice. And I'll have a bit of water, I'll be fine.
I see.
Do you not get that? Does no one get that?
No.
Is that
I've
just
never
me?
had that. Maybe it's just you. Maybe if it happens to you at home, guys, let us know.
Just a weird business partner, mate.
Hey, there's a lot about you. It's a bit weird. It's like I judge you. What's that thing? Like Judge you, but I won't judge you. Whatever. Listen, but we don't judge.
Yeah, that's it.
And don't judge you about your weird little hiccups. Anyway,
just don't give me spices in like a interview boardroom thing.
Next up,
my boardroom breezes won't appreciate that. Yeah.
I think the slider and siders love it. Anyway.
Okay.
That's the end of the episode today, people. It's been an absolute pleasure, hasn't it been?
I enjoyed that. That was nice. I liked it. I still love the workplace stories. I think they're awesome.
They're so much fun. And please keep sending yours in. We're starting to see things flood in now in terms of people engaging, and the more the merrier. And it will be able to allow us to make it more entertaining for the people who are watching at home.
Exactly. So. Go rate us on Spotify. Give us 5 stars if you love us.
And then if you want to see a little bit more, you know where you need to be.
Exactly.
Where do they need to be, Jay?
The Patreon.
Patreon.
Any of like the bleeps and stuff that you see, also behind the scenes footage, all over there. And
we're just about to crack on with our Patreon episode. So if you do want to have more out of today's episode, go and check it out.
Yes.
How much is it, Jay?
It's only £4 a month.
£4 a month, 13p a day. And
literally a coffee.
More juiciness than you've ever seen. And by this point, I mean, you've got 6 extended episodes and behind-the-scenes stuff.
So many behind-the-scenes
stuff. An extended behind-the-scenes biz wheel, an extended behind-the-scenes promo. Oh,
exactly.
You're missing out. For £4, that's a lot.
We're uploading early, accessible podcast episodes every
Tuesday.
And bloopers and behind-the-scenes every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Look how much you're getting for your buck.
If you love us and you want to see more of us, go check it out, because 100%. I promise you will not regret it.
You certainly won't. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all the socials.
Yeah,
and,
get involved, get engaged.
Yeah, guess we'll see you next week, people.
We love it.
Much love.
Cheerio.
Toodle peep. Glad I checked.
Yeah.
It was recording the last bit though, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
Right. Always records, mate. You're the one who doesn't record yours. Because of Tom.
Well, I just
fuck you, Tom. Fucked our first episode.
Right, let's get to it. Oh, you're talking about my brother.
Not Tom.
I think you're talking about editor Tom.
Brother. Oh yeah, shit. Not you.
Not you, Tom.
We love that Tom.
Aww.